We are unpacking the incredibly frustrating and completely unforgettable career of the Japanese racehorse, Rulership.
And our mission today is to decode the story of a horse who was handed every single genetic and physical advantage a thoroughbred could ask for.
But yet possessed this pathological talent for self-sabotage.
Right. We're going to explore the mechanics behind Rulership's dual nature. You know, that breathtaking closing speed colliding with an almost supernatural inability to leave the starting gate.
And what his legacy reveals about the intersection of undeniable talent and fatal flaws.
It's a fascinating story.
It really is. So to understand the sheer weight of expectations on Rulership, we had to look at his pedigree. Our sources point out he was, literal racing royalty.
Oh, absolutely. Sired by King Kamehameha and out of the legendary mare Groove.
But having famous parents doesn't automatically guarantee a fast horse.
No, it definitely doesn't.
So just how heavy was the crown he was wearing from birth?
Honestly, it was suffocating. In Japanese racing, combining King Kamehameha, who was a dual winner of the NHK Mile Cup and the Japanese Derby, by the way.
Right.
Combining him with Groove isn't just a smart mating, it's an attempt to engineer perfection.
Because Groove was an icon.
She was a generational symbol of female excellence on the track. She won the Japanese Oaks and famously took down the boys in the Tenno Show Autumn.
Wow.
So breeding those two together creates an animal carrying the most critical, dominant bloodlines of the era. The fans didn't just expect him to win.
They expected a dynasty.
Exactly. They wanted a dynasty.
And initially, he looked ready to deliver one.
He really did.
He debuts under trainer Katsuki Sumi, and in that very first race, Rulership unleashes the fastest closing section in the entire field.
Wins by 3.5 lengths.
Yeah, absolute domination. The hype seemed instantly justified.
But almost immediately, this bizarre pattern emerges.
Right. The sources compare his early career to a game of Othello. Win-lose, win-lose.
It's so strange to see.
It's like watching a brilliant chess prodigy who inexplicably throws away every other match just to keep things interesting.
That is a great way to put it.
So what is physically happening in those losses? Is he just hitting a wall against tougher G1 competition?
Actually, no. The data tells a totally different story.
Really?
Yeah, he was rarely outclassed in terms of raw ability.
Oh, wow.
He would easily handle the preparatory races, but when the G1 targets arrived, a foundational paradox in his physical and psychological makeup just took over.
I know what you mean.
Well, he had two extraordinary natural abilities, but they were diametrically opposed.
Which brings us to the emotional roller coaster fans called the Rulership experience.
The Rulership experience, yes.
Let's break down the mechanics of this, starting with the ability that actually won him races, that closing speed.
Right, so his finishing speed was a biomechanical marvel. Once he got into a rhythm and balanced himself, his momentum conservation was just off the charts.
So he didn't have to work as hard as the horses around him to maintain top speed.
Exactly, which meant he had more oxygen left in his muscles for that final furlong.
Visually, our sources say it looked like he was running a completely different race behind the main field.
It really did.
But, a massive stride doesn't help you if you aren't actually in the race when the gates open.
That is the big problem.
Let's talk about the operational disaster, his starts.
So breaking from the gate requires a completely different set of physical and mental mechanics than closing down the stretch.
Right.
You're asking a 1,000-pound animal to fire its fast-twitch muscle fibers from a dead standstill.
Seamlessly transferring standing weight into explosive forward kinetic energy.
Exactly. And Rulership had a fatal disconnect here.
Is it a physical flaw, like he's just clumsy, or is it psychological?
It's often a combination of both.
Oh.
Yeah. Some horses suffer from mild claustrophobia in the confined space of the gate, so that causes them to freeze rather than anticipate the break.
That makes sense.
Others have a habit of rocking their wheat back onto their hindquarters just as the latch springs.
And if a horse is leaning back when the doors open, they have to physically reorganize their massive frame before they can push forward.
Exactly. It takes time. Rulership would hesitate, lose his footing, or simply fail to fire those fast-twitch muscles.
So on his worst days, he effectively eliminated himself before the first turn.
He really did.
I can't imagine holding a betting ticket on this horse.
Oh, it was stressful.
The fans jokingly called him Groove's troublesome son. You watch him load into the gate and you're just holding your breath, wondering if his brain will communicate with his legs when the bell rings.
It creates a maddening, predictable anxiety.
For sure.
Because if he gives away 5 lengths at the start, his elite cruising speed is entirely spent just catching up to the back of the pack.
right? His late kick would carry him onto the leaderboard, and he'd earn consistent prize money. But it was an incredibly inefficient way to win a horse race.
Very inefficient.
We see this painfully clearly in the source material. At 4 years old, he runs in the Umamusume against the Triple Crown winner, Orfever.
And he finishes 4th.
Right. Then he comes back at 5, wins the American Jockey Club Cup, looks brilliant.
But then the pattern strikes again at the Nikki show.
Yeah, he's the heavy favorite alongside Shine, but they both get stunned by an outsider named Neko Punch.
And Rulership finishes 3rd.
A classic display of his handicap.
A very classic display.
The sources label this inconsistent, but I look at this and think he was actually the most consistent horse in training.
Consistent in what way?
He consistently put himself at a massive tactical disadvantage.
That is very true.
So at what point do a horse's connections look at this frustrating cycle and decide to change the game entirely? If his pedigree is this valuable and he refuses to start races properly, why not just pull him from the track and protect his stud value?
I guarantee that is the exact conversation his connections were having.
They had to be.
But when a horse is stuck in a behavioral loop, when the local pattern only yields this trap of almost, you sometimes have to change the environment.
You introduce a massive sensory reset.
Exactly. They decided to roll the dice and send this wildly unpredictable horse to Hong Kong.
Which sets the stage for a massive international gamble. They target the Queen Elizabeth II Cup at Sha Tin. 2,000
meters. A genuine international G1.
And he is the third choice in the betting.
Yeah.
Mostly because he just finished 6th in the Dubai Shima Classic.
Right.
So Japanese fans are watching this broadcast knowing his engine is elite, but knowing everything depends on that first fraction of a second.
And when you ship a horse internationally, literally everything changes.
The climate, the quarantine routine, the training track.
And crucially, the starting gate crew and the auditory triggers of a foreign gate opening.
Right, the sounds are different.
Exactly. Sometimes that sensory shock disrupts the bad habits that are deeply grooved into a horse's neural pathways.
And the miracle happened. The shock worked.
The gates open, and he actually starts normally.
He breaks with the field.
No dramatic hesitation, no rocking back on his hocks.
He settles into a perfect rhythm, conserving all that kinetic energy he usually burns, just trying to catch up.
And when the critical moment arrives, he utilizes that massive stride.
He sweeps past the leaders and pulls away.
Becoming a genuine international G1 champion.
For that one afternoon, the puzzle pieces align. The start is clean, the position is tactical, the finishing kick is lethal.
It proves he isn't just a sideshow act with a famous mother.
Right. It vindicated his raw talent on the world stage.
But, neurological pathways are incredibly stubborn.
They really are.
A change of scenery can act as a temporary circuit breaker for a bad habit, but it rarely rewrites the horse's fundamental nature.
So the moment he returned to his familiar environment,
the old triggers returned.
The ultimate relapse. He comes back to Japan for a final gauntlet of 4 G1 races, kicking off with the Takarazuka-kinen.
And the problem didn't just return, it came back with a vengeance.
He botches the start in all 4 races.
He finds himself hopelessly behind every single time.
And yet, because his cardiovascular engine is so absurdly powerful, he keeps mounting these impossible recoveries to finish among the leaders.
Oh, right. I mean, a normal horse missing the break that badly just disappears from the broadcast entirely.
Rulership forces his way back into the frame.
He refuses to be ignored.
Which brings us to the climax of his career, his swan song.
The final Umamusume.
The sequence described in our notes is just staggering. The gates open, and Rulership literally stands up.
He rears. Instead of projecting his weight forward, his front end just goes up into the air, completely detaching him from the main group.
He drops roughly 3 lengths behind Goldship.
Yes, Goldship.
And for anyone familiar with Japanese racing, Goldship is basically the poster child for terrible gate behavior.
Right.
Being 3 lengths behind Goldship at the start is it's like realizing you left your shoes at the starting line, turning back to get them, lacing them up, and still trying to run for a medal against Olympic sprinters.
That is a perfect analogy. It is a profound, almost insurmountable mathematical disadvantage in an elite G1 field.
He is totally marooned at the back of the pack.
But as they hit the final turn, that biomechanical marvel of a stride kicks in one last time.
He starts passing horses from a completely different zip code.
He surges down the straight and somehow, impossibly, finishes 3rd.
Taking the bronze medal behind Goldship and Ocean Blue, he throws the race in the trash at the jump and still narrowly wins it.
That performance is the absolute distillation of his entire essence.
Hong Kong proved his class, but that final Ari McKinnon proved his character.
He created a disaster entirely of his own making and overcame it with a finish that defied logic.
It cemented his legend far more deeply than a clean, boring wire-to-wire victory ever could have.
I agree completely, but it also sent him off to the breeding shed with the loudest what if in modern racing history.
What if he had just learned how to brake?
It's a haunting question heading into his retirement.
But his second career as a stallion is where the biology of this story gets genuinely fascinating.
It really does.
When you have a horse with this much raw talent and this pedigree, they naturally become a commodity. But Rulership had one specific genetic trait that made him arguably the most important stallion prospect in Japan at the time.
Right. To understand his unique value, we have to look at the genetic bottleneck occurring in Japanese thoroughbreds back then.
Okay, lay it out for us.
Rulership carried 0 Sunday silence blood.
We hear about Sunday silence constantly in Japanese racing lore, but let's look at the mechanics of why his absence was so valuable here. Sunday silence essentially oversaturated the gene pool.
Exactly. When a single sire is that dominant, over a few generations, you suddenly find that almost every elite mare in the country is his daughter or granddaughter.
And if you keep breeding those lines together, you hit a wall.
Inbreeding depression. It's a biological wall where recessive flaws are amplified.
You see a decrease in bone density.
Compromised immune systems, a loss of overall vigor. Breeders desperately needed an outcross.
They needed to introduce heterosis.
Or hybrid vigor, yeah. They needed fresh DNA to shock the system back into health.
And Rulership is the golden ticket.
The absolute perfect solution. He offers the elite blood of King Kamehameha and Air Groove, completely free of Sunday silence.
So he can be mated with any elite mare in Japan without risking those dangerous, close genetic ties.
The elite mares lined up at his door.
And he delivers. He was highly successful, producing multiple G1 winners.
Kiseki, who takes the Kikasho.
Soul Rush, who just grabbed the 2024 mile championship. He successfully passed down that massive cardiovascular engine, that power, that sweeping stride.
But biology clearly has a cruel sense of humor.
It really does.
Yeah.
Because he passed down something else, too.
Temperament and behavioral quirks in horses are highly heritable. So along with the stamina and the high-class ability, he handed down the fast-twitch misfires in the starting gate.
The ultimate genetic irony.
Yeah.
Like father, like children.
Exactly. His offspring became notorious for the exact same terrifying race profile.
They would break poorly, fall to the back of the pack, and then unleash these monstrous late charges that gave their backers heart palpitations.
Just like their father.
Imagine buying a multi-million-dollar luxury sports car and the dealer tells you, listen, the engine will break land speed records, but the ignition switch only communicates with the engine about 50% of the time.
But you sign the check anyway.
You do it anyway because the top speed is just that good.
It is the ultimate risk-reward calculation in breeding. Now, not every foal inherited the gait issues, but enough that the racing public immediately recognized the ghost of Rulership out on the track.
Wow.
His stud career confirmed he wasn't just an entertaining character. He was a vital, high-class thoroughbred who shaped modern Japanese racing.
Proving that sheer, breathtaking physiological talent can sometimes outweigh glaring operational flaws.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more.